Thank you, Prof. And that's a very important point. So what we have to really do after this is to establish a strong quality assurance team within each institution. We may have, we may not in certain institution, but then the most important point is to get this team to work with other team from different institutions just to strengthen the possibility of implementing credit transfer. Because we did mention that we will acknowledge, different platforms, not only open learning. Okay, it can be from Coursera, it can be from edX, and these students can use those certification to get credit transfer for any of the 20 universities.
Yeah, and probably just to add a point which the panel have been talking a lot about as well. I think we need to be aware that MOOCs is not another new initiative like blended learning or e-learning or problem-based learning, right? I think MOOCs is, probably another initiative towards the quality enhancement process, right? We constantly want to enhance higher education teaching and learning within our institutions, right? So when you are looking at MOOCs, I think there is always that possibility that the MOOCs might be used within the context of a face-to-face situation. So it actually becomes a blend, right? Which means that you might have 20 institutions involved, students from 20 institutions involved in one MOOC, right, in one course, right? But when it comes to the assessment or the final assessment or the final assessment task as one of the assessment tasks. So we are talking about, let's say, like maybe 50% of the assessment task might be carried out in a face-to-face situation within individual institution. I think we must be open to explore that rather than to be so like one-dimensional and to think that, okay, for all MOOCs that we are going to run, assessment got to be taking place online, right? Why can't it take place like in a face-to-face situation within the institution, facilitated by the lecturers from that institution to ensure that that credit transfer go through?
Quite interesting. So since we have a lot of map tasks here, okay, maybe we can open for a floor of questions, if you have any questions in regards to the credit transfer. As Prof. Lim has suggested some point that we should take into consideration, perhaps there are any other questions you would like to ask? No? Okay, interesting. So, Prof. Norazah, Prof. Karim, would you like to add any more to it?
Maybe.
Yeah, if I can add, I would like to share overall, I think, my research, our research collaboration with the Asia-Europe Meeting Lifelong Learning Hub. We do have this research network on the learning culture, on the e-learning culture, and this year we are doing research on the cross-cultural impact of MOOC. And we are presenting the preliminary research result in the next Asia-Europe meeting. And I would like to share overall for the preliminary result, if we compare cultural impact in Finland, because there are researchers from Finland, from Denmark, Malaysia, the Philippines, and Thailand. The impact is positive overall. So it shows that MOOC has the future despite the disadvantages. And from experience developing and from the research output and from the perception of the lecturers also regarding the credit transfer and all that, I think this, because MOOC is a method of teaching, one of the methodology. So the method of teaching for me is still flexible among the lecturers. One size cannot fit all, and one lecturer maybe they feel that they are very passionate about this MOOC and another one not. So for me, MOOC really need a very passionate individual, passionate expert in delivering it. They might be subject matter expert in that content, but if they have other way of doing it, we have to reserve a space for them. And at the same time, I think we also have to go forward with this MOOC, but forcing a lecturer or a professor to implement MOOC is not very right. But if a course need to be implemented via MOOC, they need to have co-lecturing. One course co-lecturing or coordinating by a few lecturers or expertise, one expertise in MOOC, and we have mixed expertise or collaboration in the technique of teaching or delivering the material. But I agree, MOOC has a future.
Lovely. So co-lecturing, right. This actually could really help those who practice face-to-face teaching. I mean, I'm not saying that face-to-face teaching is not effective. We have many talented professors who actually doesn't practice MOOC, but they are very talented, you see. So perhaps, you know, they could co-teaching with the juniors who are so exposed to all these technologies, and they help each other in a way. So you're suggesting that, yeah, Prof. Norazah? Yeah. In a way, that's a good suggestion. And again, okay, I'm going to touch a bit what Prof. Lim mentioned just now. He said that no matter what, we have to highlight the blended learning approach. You like it or not, you know, we don't believe in, it seems that Prof. Lim, yeah, I'm stating, if I'm wrong, please correct me if I'm wrong, yeah. So it's impossible to have 100% online learning.
Yeah, for the time being. Yeah, for the time being, via our blueprint for the higher education, especially for shift number 9, global online learning, where blended learning is a major element in there. So MOOC is a prominent element to be implemented in the blended, and I think it is being implementing well in our public universities, although some are against it, but it's okay. I think we show the good impact of it, and that's the way forward.
All right, there seems to be a question here. Can we discuss more on the future, okay, of MOOCs, right? So let's go around. Okay, thank you for the question. Maybe in a brief, where do you exactly see MOOCs in 10 years from now? Since you said just now, Norazah, you know, we are actually not ready for it, but the ministry already, you know, almost launched the credit transfer MOOC now. So how is this?
Yeah, as I mentioned before, as a learning designer, we need to know what is needed and their characteristic, and what skill should be inculcated in our 21st century generation. And if I can adopt from the 21st century partnership, part of the skills needed for them, for us to inculcate in them, if I can mention a few here, one is life and career skill, and the second is innovation skill, and the third is the media skill. And I'm very optimistic those 3 skills are embedded in this MOOC innovation. So in my opinion, from my opinion, this is the future of it, and really MOOC has a bright future. And in MOOC we can see also, I would like to adopt here the research done, the research which really concentrate on the trends of the future learning. So the trends includes mobile learning, of course. They have the micro learning there, informal learning, mobile learning, informal learning, and they also have the video-based learning. And all those are all embedded in MOOC. Like video-based, yeah, we know all in the even characteristic of Malaysia MOOC, we have those, the number of videos that should be uploaded in our MOOC course, and also informal learning, where informal learning also include the element of flexible learning. It covers students not really with a specific qualification, but as long as they have interest in an area, so they can go for MOOC. And you know, in our leisure, let's say we buy a course from Coursera or we register a free course to upgrade our skill. So that is informal learning. So about the micro learning, where learning takes place in bits or in chunks. So a mobile MOOC has that feature. So I think, and from the research shown that there are futures in MOOC, and because it meets the trends of the e-learning, and of course, in order to see the growth of e-learning, it has to be spanned across the institution and the technology.
Right. So it means here, just now Prof mentioned that we should strengthen our quality assurance and the team and all that. So the team then, if your suggestion from Norazah, should take consideration of embedding the skills just now, the 21st century, into MOOC. So that's the next step, yeah? So it's not as easy as it seems, isn't it? But how do we do that? I've seen some participants here have discussed about ICGPA, you know, how we can measure, you know, students' soft skills through the system, but there are still many flaws in it. So how is that possible for us to do that? Maybe any other panelists would like to touch on this? We want to know how, the strategy. What would you recommend?
I think for basic knowledge and basic skills, online MOOCs can make a really good leap forwards, and it may actually fasten and make the process of learning those skills and knowledge more efficient. And that gives us much more space in our educational institutions to work on these 21st century skills that you're referring to. And I think that also creates possibilities to make new types of education. And I think multidisciplinary courses where we put people together from different backgrounds solving real life problems will help us push forward creativity, problem solving, innovative thinking skills. And those are precisely the skills that you need to be an innovative country. And I think those can partially be supported also in MOOCs, but I think also the real life interaction, or at least interaction of different disciplines, however mediated, is really, really important to create those skills. And creating real life problems for students, having them work on real life solutions will give you a really good assessment possibility as well, because if it is something that can be picked up by industry or by different other possibilities, like we see a lot of spin-offs from universities around the globe as well, and that is probably the best indicator that you are succeeding in developing these innovative skills. So I would go beyond just the assessing and also think in the products that are coming from your educational courses.
Okay, so it's important to have real life applications somehow, and it's important to get all different disciplines of audiences to get into the MOOC and have the discussion together, so make sure it doesn't come from one field. That's your suggestion. Thank you. Prof Lim, seems that you want to add more to it?
Okay, I'm going to just agree first, and then after that I'm going to talk to you about my vision of the future for MOOCs. But it's just a personal conception. I mean, I do agree that one key thing about MOOCs is really about the soft skills, especially with the students being able to learn how to learn. Right, so if you look at, because just now Prof Karim also like mentioned about the Education 2030. So if you look at the Sustainable Development Goal by the United Nations, the SDG 4, you'll see that it's about quality, access, and lifelong learning, right? So if you look into this whole notion of lifelong learning, I think MOOCs provide the students with opportunities to really learn how to learn, right? So MOOCs are supposed to empower the students, which means that eventually we want them to be able to access themselves, right? So regardless of what set of competencies we want them to be able to develop, it's not just us assessing them. They have got to be able to assess themselves, right? So one of the things that we have been doing in my university is to have an e-portfolio whereby the students are supposed to monitor and manage their own learning based on the 21st century competencies, whereby they have a self-assessment questionnaire where they would take every single year within their 4 years undergrad in the university, and they're supposed to reflect upon that and make links to their different learning experiences within the university. Okay, but this is not what I am going to be talking about with regards to that question, right? So I need to try to agree with the panel first. But the thing is, when we are looking at the future of MOOCs, I think we need to go back to the basic of MOOCs. Right, when MOOCs was first coined, I think the key idea is MOOCs are supposed to democratize the education, right? Which means that it is supposed to address the issue of quality and equity, right? Providing access to the members of the community the education which they would otherwise not have been able to access, right? So my idea of the future of the MOOCs is not to hijack that basic principle and dwell on the credit transfer and accreditation and, you know, trying to just serve the students that are within our university. Yes, we should of course be serving our own students within our university system. But I think we should also note that part of the mandate of a university is to serve the community, right? The local community, the international community, right? And to provide them access to quality education. One of the big proposals that I am writing up now is quite fun. Okay, I think it's quite fun because it is really taking MOOCs into the local community. So the next proposal that I'm going to be submitting like next week to the Hong Kong government is a student-created MOOCs for Hong Kong domestic workers. It's quite fun, right? No? Okay, so I am going to be getting my students and the students of another 4 collaborating universities in Hong Kong, and also working with the Indonesian universities and the Philippines universities, right, to create MOOCs for the Indonesian and Filipino domestic workers. There are 320,000 of them in Hong Kong, right, and providing them access to the education. So we need to really understand, as what they have said, you know, we really need to understand what their learning needs are, right? So, you know, it's like running MOOCs on things like microfinancing, on like the setting up of small scale like businesses to learn the Cantonese language, to learn English, etc. Right? Skills that they would be able to eventually make changes in their lives. Right, because if you look at a lot of the domestic workers in Hong Kong, they are actually the marginalized members of the community, but yet they play a big role in the economic development of Hong Kong, and I'm sure in Singapore as well, and I'm quite sure in Malaysia as well. But quite often we overlook them, and I think like that is one key thing about MOOCs, that we are supposed to democratize the education, right? By being able to provide access to a group that would otherwise not have access to that quality education.
Okay, please.
Yeah, can I just add on and revert back to the issue of the future of MOOC? Well, when we talk about a future, can you hear? Yeah. When we talk about the future, maybe we have to look at what is the time frame. Are we talking about 5 years into the future, 10 years into the future? Let's say 10 years into the future. It's a long time. It's a long time, and a lot of things will happen during that 10 years. If we look around what's happening around us, especially in terms of technology that's changing so fast, exponentially, in terms of connectivity, because if you want to do, the future of learning is basically, to me, very much into online. So we need the technology there, we need the connectivity. So the connectivity, if we look at the statistic, Malaysia now stands around 70% connectivity. So we are talking about access here. But the SDG, the SDG things, we talk about quality, access, and also another one you didn't mention is about equity. About the equity. So in order so I'm actually very optimistic of the future of online learning. Not necessarily MOOC. If we remove the M in that equation, we can still do online learning without really making it massive. It's all about, Lim mentioned about democratizing education. I wrote about this long article published in ST 2 weeks ago, and that is to me we now have the platform in the form of MOOC or online learning, and maybe then the technology will evolve, will become better and better. The connectivity will increase more and more. So I'm very optimistic that we can use this online course to really democratize education, to improve access, to improve equity, and of course it's not a total solution. I don't believe in having a total solution or so-called silver bullet to solve a problem in education. But I think now we can really be very creative. This is about the creativity, how the university, how the academics and the faculty really being very creative in utilizing the technology available at our disposal to really change and transform the way we teach and the way students learn. That's what Prof. Dato' Amin yesterday, in his keynote, talking about rethinking teaching, redesign learning. So now we have the tool, we have as an enabler in the form of online course, in the form of MOOC. So if we talk about future again, Peter Drucker said, we can't predict the future, but we can create our future. So we have to ask our questions. To answer this really, what actually we want from our MOOC, if we are talking about MOOC here. So we define what we want, then we try to create, the ecosystem in such a way that we will achieve that, whatever we want to achieve using MOOC, using online learning, using the technology. So I'm actually very optimistic and still very, very optimistic.
Lovely. Well, I can feel the vibes, Prof. Karim. Okay. So to answer what we actually want, but what we see at the moment is that the ministry set for every university, for example, to achieve 4 MOOCs in a year, for example, you see. So it is more of quantify things. So I think I'll just highlight by what Prof. Lim have stated just now, that the concern is now more on quality than quantity. Yeah, so we should be looking at that, all right? And to gain those qualities, you have to make sure that everybody's working hand in hand. And then another important point is that how would each MOOC that we develop give an impact to the society and community? That is another interesting point which we should work towards, I think. So, Prof. Norazah, how is it? Should we guide Meta into this?
Okay, about 4 MOOCs a year for the public university, I think it is not impossible. It is possible because we see how many lecturers or academics we have in one university, and 4 over how many? So I think it's just, very little percentage. So 4 courses among, other, I think hundreds of how many you have lecturers, there is a possibility because not being boasting about National University of Malaysia, but we are implementing it and we have proven it. So, and it meets the Malaysia MOOC policy that we Mipton have set. And I think the Center for Teaching and Learning plays a very big role in each university, and the promotion and the getting the buying-ins, as what Prof. Karim have suggested, more exposure, more workshop, and all that, especially when sharing the experience of UKM developing MOOCs. Each and everyone in the faculty plays a big role. Not only the center is the promoter, the coordinator, but each e-learning coordinator for each faculty are very important. They play a very big role in this. And let's say we just take one faculty, one MOOC. I think it is still possible. And of course, one public university have more than 4 faculties. So it's still, and since now I'm leading a faculty, Alhamdulillah, my faculty has developed, because we are given, my faculty especially, is given what we call, given a challenge that one faculty should develop at least 5. And until September 2016, for the whole of UKM, we have developed 30 MOOCs. So credit goes to the Center for IT here. We have, as a professor, Dr. Rosni Dane here. We have Dr. Fariza and a team of people from IT Center are playing a big role in promoting. And just to share, my faculty has developed 11. So, and this is done via co-lecturing. One course developed by about 3 to 4 lecturers. And the ongoing workshop is being implemented. And the challenge and what the strategy that my faculty of Education, UKM, is using is we have the committee, newly set up, Committee of Global Online Learning for the faculty. I call it Pendeta Global. Pendeta Global is pendidikan dalam talian global for my faculty. So it will be, I know it will be shared with other faculties. And the coordinator or the chairperson of this committee is our e-learning coordinator. In UKM, we have e-learning coordinator for each faculty. So that really play an important role, and together we, in each faculty, all the technical assistants, they are being trained to use the mobile. They are being trained to develop in all the tools, Web 2.0 tools and all that, to help the lecturers to develop, because we cannot expect the lecturers to be technology savvy. We cannot expect one lecturer to be very savvy in Web 2.0 and all. As we know, in order to design one course, it is not a one-man show, it's a group. So we have subject matter expert for each course, a few subject matter expert, technical expert, and a person from the ICT Center. And we also, to help develop our MOOC, we have assistance from our IT students. So I think a few of them are here with us, also play a big role, and they are contesting in the poster competition. So they also are assigned to help the lecturers to develop, and they are given credits or certain percentage of marks in their course, because we secure a percentage for that program to be included in their final result. So that's how we develop that.
Right. It's good to know you have a very strong team. I believe all institutions in Malaysia or elsewhere, they do have team to manage MOOC. But as a dean yourself, what's the plan, the next plan? Okay, we have the team, we've helped out, all the academicians to develop and all that, but then what's next?
The next one is, of course, as I mentioned before, we need academics who are passionate about it. And those 11 courses, 11 group are passionate about it. We have about 24 programs, master's program in our faculty. So 11 out of 24, I think, is very good. And the next one is, of course, to get as many as possible, ongoing workshop, and we go towards 21st century, and we go into mobile, and really to make the lecturers skillful about blending what they have done in MOOC in the conventional one. And so also about the credit transfer, to inculcate those in the courses. And also we review our course performer every semester, and we see what they have developed, not only using the MOOC that they develop, also using the MOOC that other public universities have developed in our course performer. Other than that, MOOC from internationally known, and also MOOC in the area that are related to the courses, for example, education issue and so on. Now, education issue for the masters only dealing with issue in Malaysia. With MOOC, we can do the comparative studies issues from the European countries, from other ASEAN countries. So I think that's the future of it.
Right.